67%. Before we even dive in, just sit with that statistic. From a recent workplace emotional safety report, 67% of employees feel forced to mask their emotions just to appear professional. That's over 2/3 of the workforce actively suppressing their true selves. This isn't just some minor inconvenience. It's a massive systemic issue that is fundamentally altering how we work and ultimately who we become when we clock in.
So, here's our game plan for today's coaching session. We'll look at the corporate masking epidemic, dive into Jung's persona and the shadow, explore the cost of disconnection, spot the signs of unconscious masking, and finally wrap up with strategies for safe unmasking.
All right, Part 1, the corporate masking epidemic.
So, what exactly is corporate masking? Basically, it's the phenomenon of hiding your true emotions, your quirks, the real you, just to seem professional, in an environment that, frankly, lacks psychological safety. With only 32% of employees saying they feel psychologically safe at work, putting on this mask goes from being a polite social grace to an exhausting, downright necessary survival tactic.
And the pressure we're under is intense. Burnout and chronic stress hit 43% of us, with heavy workloads right on their heels at 42%. All this constant friction and conflict completely drains our mental energy, driving a staggering 1 in 3 employees to the point of crying at work. We are navigating an intense emotional minefield every day, all while pretending everything is just peachy.
Which brings us to Section 2, Jung's persona and the shadow.
To understand why we do this to ourselves, we gotta look at Carl Jung's concept of the persona. Think of it as your social suit. It's the protective layer, the specific roles we play to fit in and meet everyone's expectations. And hey, it's an incredibly useful protective layer. It's exactly what lets you effortlessly hide a panic attack during a high-stakes Zoom meeting. But overusing this mask inevitably leads to a massive internal disconnect. You start to forget where the mask ends and the real you begins.
And that flips us to the other side of the coin, the shadow. This is the hidden domain of your psyche where you stuff all your suppressed desires, your unexpressed anger, and any perceived weaknesses, really just to avoid rejection. But here's the thing, everything you push down to maintain that flawless professional persona doesn't just vanish. It lives in your shadow, silently dialing up your stress levels and messing with your health from right below the surface.
It takes a massive, deeply effortful suppression of your natural self to imitate these expected behaviors. We talk about this a lot in neurodivergent communities, where masking is often a literal survival tool. But this dynamic absolutely applies to the broader corporate world too. You're burning so much fuel just trying to suppress your natural behaviors to force socially acceptable mannerisms.
Let's look at the fallout in Section 3, the cost of disconnection.
There's this really fascinating MIT study that looked at managerial careers and split people into 2 camps, high self-monitors and low self-monitors. The high self-monitoring chameleons are incredibly adaptable. They give the room exactly what it wants and often snag those fast cross-company promotions. But the catch? They risk severe internal disconnection and really low relationship commitment. Compare that to the low self-monitors, who stay grounded in their authentic selves and build much deeper, genuine connections.
Because rewriting every fiber of your being for a corporate gig comes with a massive bill. Constant workplace masking completely zaps your long-term mental energy. We're talking severe career burnout, meltdowns, or even complete shutdowns. It kicks off a terrifying identity crisis where you lose your sense of self, leaving you at this lingering inner hollowness, even if you look successful on paper. Over time, that unresolved tension actually shows up as unexplained physical ailments or depression. It is incredibly heavy stuff.
So how do you know if you're doing this? Section 4, Signs of Unconscious Masking.
Let's do a quick reality check. Are you doing this unconsciously in your daily life? Are you constantly smiling through inner turmoil? Do you hold back your most innovative ideas because you're terrified of judgment? Or maybe you meticulously script out every single conversation in your head beforehand, hyper-vigilant about what everyone expects from you. Or perhaps you feel like a completely different person at home versus the office. If any of this hits a little too close to home, you are leaning way too hard on your persona and your tank is running on empty.
All right, let's fix this. Section 5, Strategies for Safe Unmasking.
To stop this cycle of burnout, we have to establish healthy boundaries and do something really brave. You have to look inward and ask yourself an incredibly tough question. Who are you beneath it all? Literally, if we stripped away your job title, the corporate expectations, and that desperate need to please your manager, what is actually left standing there? To figure that out, we need some specific steps to identify those repressed personality traits hiding in your shadow. Step 1, acknowledge that your shadow traits aren't always bad. They actually hold a lot of your buried creativity and passion. Step 2, think back to childhood reprimands. Were you scolded for being too sensitive or maybe too curious? Those are massive clues to your authentic self. And step 3, notice your strong emotional triggers right now. Unexplained anger or deep envy is often your shadow screaming, trying to remind you of exactly what you've denied yourself.
Okay, now let's build some simple daily habits to practice unmasking safely. First, I want you to use 3 practical journal prompts to uncover those suppressed authentic interests. Ask yourself, what do I truly like? What am I doing right now solely out of obligation? And who am I when no one else is watching? Second, start practicing energy accounting. Literally, budget the energy you spend on masking so you don't fry your social battery. And finally, start incredibly small. Drop the mask with just one safe, trusted person to build your confidence.
I want to wrap up with a quote from researcher Brené Brown that perfectly captures the crucial takeaway from our session today. Vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, and creativity. Taking off that mask is absolutely not a career liability. It is the ultimate strength you need to reclaim your purpose and your authentic self. So I'll leave you with this one final thought. If you spend your entire career being exactly who everyone else wants you to be, whose life are you actually living?